Well, nothing changed.
Hey, everybody.
Look at Susie.
All right.
You had the witchy moves.
That's right. Okay. Well, everybody, we are here. We have Coach Nicole. We have No Insanity Renee. We have Susie. And we have me, my metamorphosis. And we're just here to, I don't know, just to celebrate Halloween, to just have fun, talk about nutrition, talk about just, we could talk about the scary corruption and the man and them and all of this. We could just talk about all kinds of stuff. What you got going on, Nicole? I think you've got some sound effects, some new stuff for today. That's awesome.
Happy Halloween.
Nicole, you got snowman on?
Yes.
That's not Halloween.
She's got on a onesie.
It's a onesie.
Woo, you are quick on the draw.
She's not going to stop till Christmas.
I'm conflicted. So people, I have a quick story to share. So I decided to go home to visit my lovely parents in New Jersey for the weekend. All was going splendidly. We were originally supposed to go live at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today, but my Jeep decided not to start last night. So Mama gave me a jump so I can get to the hotel. And then Jeep decided to not start this morning when I tried to come back home to my husband and cat. So Mom came to the rescue, called AAA.
Yay, Mom.
Lovely AAA man came, delivered a pretty little battery, well, big battery, dropped it in my car, and here I am $300 later. I have a working car, and it died in front of my parents' house, so I'm happy about that at least. But
Yeah,
that's why we're 2 hours late.
Somewhere.
So I was almost stranded.
It picked a good spot, we'll say.
And then we had to go. My mom had jumper cables. I didn't know if I did. And I was like, do you know how to jump a car? She's like shaking her head, yes. And so I trusted her. We get out. I was like, I don't even know what my battery looks like. Like, it was just I had no idea where to put the jumper cables. So she was holding the jumper cables. I figured out how to open my trunk or my hood. And I go to my parents' neighbor. I said, hi, I'm their daughter. I think you know my dad. We have jumper cables. We don't know what to do with them. Can you please help start my car? It was like 9:30 at night.
Yeah, but he was a good neighbor. He helped.
Everyone needs to learn how to jump a car and change a battery and change a tire. That's what I'm saying. I usually call people, but yeah, I didn't know what my battery. Now I know where my battery is. So if this happens again, I know where to put them.
Just because you know where the battery is, don't know you know how to hook them up.
Yes, the red goes on the positive. I think they're color coded, right?
The old ones weren't, but yeah.
They had to dumb it down for the newer generations, I guess.
So. You just have a plus and a minus.
Yeah, there is a plus, a red plus.
There you go.
So that's my story, people.
Well, and the important thing is you made it safe and sound, and we're all here, so that this is great. Hey, Mike, how's it going? We can go ahead, and we got some folks coming in. Good to see you, Mike. Hey, there's the other Mike. We have Mike squared. All you nerds out there.
What do you all think of our costumes? Renee dressed up as Nicole minus the hat.
Hi.
She got a hat. There it is.
All right, there we go.
There you go.
Well, I had an adventure. The last couple of weeks has been pretty wild for me. a week ago, this past Tuesday, I woke up with just a minor sore throat. Thought, oh, drainage, a little bit of allergies maybe. And as the day progressed, I felt worse and worse. And by the end of the day, I felt like I'd been run over by a Mack truck or beaten up and left for dead. Take your pick, both equally painful. So the next day, needless to say, I did not work. I stayed in bed all day, alternating between shivering and burning up and hurting, feeling like an ice pick in my, back of my neck. It was terrible. So then Thursday morning, I drug myself to the clinic and I tested positive for the virus that shall not be named.
Oh, no.
And so my main concern was, though, that my son had gotten his company's box seats for the KISS concert Monday. And I was just stoked about that. I had him hauled around about whether or not I was going to get tickets and everything. And then I never did. And then I kind of regretted it. And then my son surprised me with those tickets. And I was really afraid that I wasn't going to be well enough to go. But the doctor told me that I was actually in the worst of it and that I should, start feeling better, which Friday I was miserable, but then Saturday I started getting better. And by the time Monday rolled around, I was a little bit tired, but other than that, I felt great. So I went to the KISS concert. It was fabulous. Oh my gosh. I know what I'm going to do when I'm rolling in the dough. Okay. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy box seats. That's just the way to do it. That's just the way to do it. And I'm going to invite all my friends to come and hang out anytime there's a concert or something. It was just fabulous. It was just amazing. You had like your own little like balcony with these nice chairs with armrests and cup holders and stuff. It was like a really nice experience. And we were just like right there, like above the stage, kind of catty cornered, but it was fabulous. Gene Simmons flew right by me. It was neat. Yeah. So then I rested Tuesday, and then my brother and I went to Tulsa to the Bob Dylan Museum there.
Oh, it was interesting.
Yeah, it was. I used to kind of like not think a whole lot of Bob Dylan. I guess I didn't appreciate his songwriting and stuff like that. But then my brother is more of he's quite an intellectual and a creative. I'm a creative to an extent, but anyway, I just never truly appreciated him until I got older. And so we went, and there were a lot of handwritten manuscripts, like, where he was drafts of songs that he had done and just all of this stuff. And there was an interactive tour with with headphones, and you could tap and listen to narrative about each part that you were seeing. And you could hear like pieces of interviews and rare footage and stuff like that. So it was fascinating. We stayed there all day then on Thursday, and then Friday morning we came home. So it's been a very hectic, wild, busy, just insane couple of weeks. But this past week was a whole lot better than the one before it. I'll tell you that. And I credit low carb, keto, carnivore for getting over that so quickly, because although I was very sick, I was sick less than a week.
That's awesome. I had something going on with my stomach that lasted like 2 days. Today, perfectly fine. I haven't had a respiratory thing since 2019.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the best things for your immune system, I think.
Oh, definitely. It was because like I have had friends and acquaintances who have had it throughout this whole, ever since it started, and sick for 2 weeks, and
oh, goodness.
And having lingering symptoms and stuff. And like, I really don't, now I'm not even tired, for a couple of days, my energy level was just a little off, but like in terms of like feeling fine, I felt fine. I wasn't, once in a blue moon, I would have like a little bit of a cough, but now I'm just thinking, after such a short period of time, feeling so good. It's just amazing. So the nutrition, all that good fat, and then plus all the omega-3s and stuff. Like, I know Nicole doesn't eat sardines.
Blech.
Blech. I actually like them. I like them with
I do too. I like my
hot
sardines
sauce.
too. Great source of vitamin D when you get the ones that come with the little bones and they're whole.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Just mail them to me. I'll eat them.
Man, I just like dip. I
They
just
gonna
like
swim up there to you.
pour hot sauce on them.
I've not tried them with hot sauce. I usually have them with mustard, like the
Yeah.
German mustard, no sugar mustard.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Nope.
Yeah.
I haven't tried them. This is weird because I haven't tried them with mustard. Now, the first time I tried them was like, I guess one of my first videos that I had done, and I didn't put anything on them. I mean, I just opened the can right there and just reached in with my fingers. Just grabbed a chunk and ate it, and it actually tasted a lot better than I expected. And I think what threw me off was just how it looked.
The smell is intense. My dog will come running whenever I open, because I will drain the water off. I get the water, no salt added. I'll give him the juice.
Mm-hmm.
He loves it. I mean, yeah.
Oh, my cat went nuts when I opened it.
Don't let it splash on your clothes. Your clothes will never be the same. They'll be like I ruined a good shirt.
That's a clue. That's cat food. That's clue.
That's a clue.
Now I have to say, I also tried cod liver, and I do try to eat it once a week, but I am not as fond of cod liver, and I do drown it in hot sauce too. Like, I mean, I just look. You know what I did? I ordered a big giant jug of Frank's Red Hot Original Hot Sauce from Amazon, because I was using so much hot sauce between, like, I eat a can of sardines a day, and I want them for some weird reason. It's like my body is just telling me, and has for about the last 6 weeks, telling me that I need sardines. And so I've been eating them. It's harder for me to eat the cod livers, though, I have to admit. They don't taste bad, but the texture is like slime. It's like that goo that the kids would get to play with, kind of. I mean, that's just what it reminds me of. And so I make myself eat them once a week. I can do once a week, but it's like.
Are those the tend ones?
Enough with the sardines.
My body loves me enough to tell me I don't need them.
Renee really is like Nicole. She's bleh, and got the hat and doesn't like sardines. It's like my soul sister over here.
You are like her mini me.
I'm her mini me.
Yeah, I'm older. Yeah, don't pass up on that one.
Well, it's she's the mini me, and so okay. So what's your date of birth?
Mine?
Either both of you. Like, are you or what sign are you? Like, I'm Pisces.
This is like a pickup line.
I know.
I like long walks on the beach, gazing at the stars. I'm a Libra.
You'll never guess what I am.
A Sagittarius.
Should be a huge clue. Scorpio.
I wouldn't have guessed that. What are you, Renee?
Scorpios are very outgoing.
Oh, she's a Capricorn. I don't know what any of this means.
I don't either. Birthday's in January.
Birthday's in January. Yeah, my brother is a Capricorn too. That's fascinating. I mean, it is kind of weird how I think, anyway, that a lot of the descriptions, like, and of course it's a general description, but a lot of the characteristics seem to fit, especially for me with Pisces, like being like this, like it, like supposedly Pisces is like the last sign in the zodiac, and so they have features of all signs, but then they also feel things very deeply, and they're very empathetic, and they're very they want to help, and they're, matter of fact, they give too much, and yeah. So it's just funny how all that works. So anybody want to talk about just any challenges they've had, anything scary that's going on with their, I don't know. We got to fit it in with Halloween somehow, right? So any situations that's come up, any kind of victories? Anything you want to share?
Around Halloween?
Around anything.
I haven't had stevia for 2 weeks, and I'm not in jail yet. So.
Well, that's a positive.
Yeah, it's not been, well, actually it hasn't been too bad. The first 3 days were like, I was very preoccupied. I was like, I've been having, or had been using Redmond's Relight with the flavored ones. And I just felt like I was getting a little too preoccupied with sweet tastes and decided, I'm just going to do a 2-week trial to see if I can survive and do it. And it's been fine. It's been fine. I'll, reduce the amount of electrolyte I was taking into, which will save me some money. But strangely, my leg cramps have just disappeared.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Which is kind of, I would think, kind of counterintuitive, less electrolyte, but no cramps. I'm like, thank goodness. That's one of the downsides of the lower carb diets for a lot of people, I think, are the cramp, the cramps at night. And I was getting leg cramps, toe cramps, butt cramps. Sometimes my quads wanted to cramp up, and it was just not fun at all. But so far, so good. Yeah, so we'll see. I may extend it another couple of weeks, and going into holidays, I don't know what I'm going to do. If I'm going to go.
Was there a particular reason that you wanted to change things up a little bit? Like, I know for me, it's like an N=1, and I try different things just to see what happens. So is that just kind of what you were doing, or was there a particular reason?
Well, I have some skin problems on my calves. And I think Jonathan's talked about this too. And it's hard to tell whether it started in the summertime. I couldn't tell if it was KP or if it's like oxalate related. It's sometimes it's hard to tell what's going on because I've had some oxalate dumping skin related stuff, mainly like on my shoulder blade and on my hip. But this has been on my calves. And I'm like, well, I wonder if there's any connection between any of the other plant-based things that I'm consuming. I'll start with stevia. I have not wanted to reduce the coffee or the tea.
Yeah.
Those are like my last plant thingies.
It's like, no!
I know. Talk about a Halloween experience if I tried to do that.
It's very scary.
Yeah. I might be very scary at that point. Yeah. So, but so far so good. The legs are the rash on my leg. I mean, it is getting a little bit better, but it's just, you try to address things through diet and see if that works. Sometimes they're not related to diet. Diet fits everything, but I did want to give that a try. And it is an N=1 as well, because I know that when we did the dairy-free September, I wasn't really wanting as much like sweet flavors. And then I added the dairy back in. And what I did was I added a little bit of that Redmond's Relight, like the berry flavor, to my full-fat yogurt. So good. Oh my goodness. Like, I ate that and then I just wanted to eat all the things.
Oh.
So part of it's like, okay, trigger, emotion. I don't know if it's emotional eating or just because I had been under eating or whatever, but yeah. And I think I've gained 3 pounds since I went back to dairy for 2 weeks and then I stopped it again.
Oh, okay. So you're not eating dairy now?
No, except for butter. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I had gone without dairy for a while, and it was sort of on accident. I had just forgotten to get any of my full fat yogurt and stuff when I went to the store. And so I just was like, well, okay, I'm just going to like not have any. And I really didn't tell a difference in terms of like whether I felt better or worse or anything like that. So then I've gradually reintroduced my full fat Greek yogurt. So the only dairy I'm really having now is butter and full fat Greek yogurt. And I haven't noticed any effects having reintroduced it. Now, the very first time I did reintroduce it, though, I ate too much of it, and I had eaten a lot of other things like hamburger patties and bacon and some sardines with hot sauce. And so what possessed me to turn around and eat a big, serving of full fat Greek yogurt? I don't know, but I did. And I felt so queasy. And of course, my first initial thought is, oh, I can't handle the dairy. And I'm like, wait a minute, that was a crazy combination of food right there. You probably shouldn't have reintroduced it at that point. So, but I have gradually introduced it back and I haven't noticed anything different. So, anyway, anybody else have anything that they want to share that they've tried, changed up?
Yep. I've ruffled a lot of feathers and pissed a lot of people off. Hey.
Is that your spiritual gift? You and Dave Ramsey, right?
All you have to do is just say you reintroduce carbohydrates and people really get angry, even though I've never, ever claimed to be zero. And in my About Me, it says low carb.
Yeah.
But I have increased my carbs around my cycle, and I'm actually sleeping better. I have more energy. Like I'm feeling, because I was lethargic. I was taking naps in the middle of the day, literally sitting up. Like I wouldn't be able to concentrate. Like I just was not feeling good. So I increased my carbs a little bit. I still don't go over 50, but the first 2 weeks of my cycle, so a week or two before my period, I go up to 50, and then I drop it back down to no more than 20 the last 2 weeks. But that is working for me so far. I just finished 30 days, so that's working for me so far. So I guess that would be a change. Yeah, my girl Renee threatened to beat people up. People were in Jonathan's comment section. I stopped going over there because they were like, you are two big heads that don't know what you're talking about. I was like, first off, I'm offended because my head is a lot smaller than Jonathan's. But yeah, so yeah, I apparently have carbohydrates really, really piss people off. Apparently, I don't know. So for me, it's a success, but at the same time, I don't know if that's a success.
Well, low carb doesn't mean zero carb.
I know.
And you can, I like to do N=1 experiments. Now, part of my problem, I've thought about reintroducing some other stuff into, back, but a part of me doesn't want to rock the boat too much.
On what? In the community?
No. I don't really care. But I mean, I want people to appreciate my message, because I have totally gotten rid of my anxiety through carnivore. So I do hope that the message resonates with people.
Yeah.
I'm not your typical person in that I haven't lost a bunch of weight, and there's not visual changes that people can see, but boy, the physical, the inside changes and everything have really just been profound, even though I was eating very low carb before I actually got to carnivore. I guess with incorporating, I technically speaking, the yogurt, the full fat Greek yogurt is carnivore. It's an animal-based product. However, it does have some carbs to it. So I think it's like 12 grams or something.
What's up?
I don't, it is what it is, but
yeah,
I've been afraid, or not afraid, but I don't want to rock my own health boat. So like whatever other people think about what I eat and whether it's low enough carb or too many carbs or whatever, that really doesn't matter so much as
I'm a big head who doesn't know what I'm talking about. So
big
I'm
head,
going to continue eating my carbs and people can continue to offend me. But
Well, I
yeah,
mean, it's not like you're eating your whole grains and your, your big
I've
whole wheat
always been
bagel.
100% transparent with what I'm eating. I have not once ever claimed to be zero. I'm like, I eat this, I eat this, I eat this. But yeah, I've had a mass exodus and a lot of people saying some mean things. But it's okay.
No, it's not okay. It's not. It's not
You
okay.
can't please everyone.
No, you can't. You can't.
That's
But
true.
even if you're eating a carnivore diet, you're going to get trace carbs. If you're eating eggs, you're going to get some carbs, right? Heavy whipping cream or heavy cream, dairy.
What about you? What about you, Renee? What do you have going on? You and Susie said you were going to take over the stream, and we were just going to sit back and chill out and let you ladies just have some fun. So what's up, Renee?
I'm just getting over that same thing that I guess Carrie gave it to me.
Oh no!
I am so
Oh.
sorry.
You cover your mouth when you're coughing on it.
I know, right?
You're spreading that stuff.
Wash
all
your
over everywhere.
hands.
That's right. Touching everything. Anyway, I couldn't eat meat for 10 days.
Oh my
I couldn't.
gosh.
It was everything was
Oh
disgusting.
no!
But
Oh,
everything was
What did you do?
disgusting.
What did you do? Bone broth, or what did you do, Renee?
Yeah, I don't do bone broth even when I'm healthy. So, I eat carbs. I eat carbs.
I did have a friend bring me some bone broth, and like you, Renee, and it just occurred to me. I mean, I knew it, but I suspected that I had that because I was hungry, but nothing tasted good.
Mm-mm.
Nothing.
Yeah.
It
But
was
I
like
will-
I didn't want anything because what my mouth was telling my brain that it tasted like. My brain was like, that's not what this tastes like.
Yeah, it
You
tastes
know,
like,
it's
it
not
tastes
right.
like cardboard for me.
Yeah, it was
But
terrible.
the other time I had it, it was the same way, but I was way, way sicker the other time
oh,
than I was
Mhm.
this time. I was probably really sick for 3 days, and then I started getting better after that. But last time I was down for like 2 months.
Oh, whoa. That's about like what happened with my dad. I took care of him, and this is a weird thing. I guess, well, low carb / proper human diet doesn't make you bulletproof, I don't reckon. But I just thought that somehow I was immune to it because my dad was very, very sick with it. We had taken him to the emergency room, and my mother was actually upstairs in serious condition because she had heart failure, all those complications with diabetes that she had gone through, and she was very sick. She did not have that illness though. But my dad, so then I took my dad to the ER. So we were in the ER while my mom was upstairs. And so sure enough, he had it. But because his heart was so good and everything, they just sent me home with an oximeter, and he just came home with me, and I took care of him for 3 months. So
Yeah,
he was very sick.
This time I never laid in the bed. I was up every day. I just didn't feel good for 3 days. But
Mhm.
the last time, that's when I got lymphedema in my legs. They swelled up and started leaking, and it was, matter of fact, my husband was out of town working, and we had an argument. So when I got sick, I went to the bed. I literally could only get up from the bed, stop at the sink in the bathroom, get me a drink of water, and go pee and go right back to bed. That's what I did for, I think, 10 days I was in there. I couldn't even make it to the other side of the house.
oh,
I couldn't breathe. It was rough. And my husband was in here sending sweet messages every day, but he wasn't calling because he knew I was mad at him. I like to lay in there and died because he thought I was mad and he wasn't answering his calls. So he just sent sweet text messages. How you doing, beautiful? I hope you feel. I finally got back
He
in
was
there.
sucking up.
Yeah.
well,
You couldn't call.
my husband travels a lot for work, and he gave me that thing, and I landed in the ER because I was like vomiting bile, like I had like every single symptom known to man. This guy just had the little sniffles, and he was like moaning and groaning and walking around with his head down and all that stuff, just like right. I'm over here in the ER, like think I'm dying, and they run all these tests. Everything came back negative. I was waiting for the result for the thing. we were walking out to the car, the doctor comes running out, Mrs. Malone, Mrs. Malone. I was like, oh shit, I am dying. And she's like, you tested positive. I look right at my husband. I was like, you did this. So I was like trying to hug him and kiss him. I was like, I'm giving this back.
My grandson and my husband both got sick before I did. I actually thought I was going to get away with it because they were actually just getting over it when I got sick. So I thought that I had slipped on through there, but I finally got it. But it's still, other than I couldn't eat, it wasn't that bad this time as it was first time. Matter of fact, what made me try to get to the other side of the house, well, because my phone was in here, was when I went to the bathroom, I looked down and my feet were turning black. It's from no oxygen and no, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I got to get to the other side of the house.
Oh my God.
I came in here, got on Amazon and ordered me one of them foot massagers things. Got that in the mail and started sticking my feet in there every day. But then, like I said, the lymphedema started up and my legs were leaking. That was pretty bad. That's when I went to the doctor and he's like, because I already got congestive heart failure. He's like, it is what it is, and handed me a handicap tag for my truck.
Whoa.
That was his solution for that.
It's good parking.
I came home and I started, first off, I came home crying and depressed and, giving up because, I got all these other things wrong with me. I'm like, I just want to leave. I'm just done. So I started looking up the lymphedema stuff and I'm like, why? They got lymphedema clinics that they help you do this. So I make me an appointment. I go back and just ask him. So he's like, yeah, we could treat it as that. And he gave me a referral to go over there to that thing. And 3 days later, they put these leg sleeves on that compresses all the fluid up, gets it moving up. And so that pretty much fixed that. But I bought my own so I could come because I hated going all the way over there to that thing. So I bought my own and was doing them at home. And within, I don't know, a week, 10 days, that was all gone. So then I make me an appointment to go back to fire my doctor. And he says I'm retiring.
Damn.
No closure. I didn't get no closure. I'm still mad.
Oh. Man.
That's it. Other than my husband killing a cow, we good.
Well, and then you have lesbian hand.
No, we got a rooster. We fixed that problem. I told you we got a rooster. It broke that right up. I will say that she was the last one he was able to get, but he did get her.
My neighbors have roosters. They were doing a dual thing back and forth yesterday. It was funny.
Throwing. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I usually beat them up. I'm usually up before they start, but yeah.
Well, Susan said at 2:16 my time, I think 1:16 your time, my cholesterol numbers were great, but I had a CAC scan and scared myself. Now I need to speak to the doctor. Oh man. Yeah. What does your doctor say? Are they concerned?
See, this is the thing. I think I told y'all about going to that Highland Games thing. That's where I tried the haggis, Nicole. That's where I tried the haggis. But they had this booth there of this.
What's haggis again? Some disgusting what?
Like beef heart and
it's a bladder that's stuffed.
No, oh no, what that what?
Yeah, it's a traditional Scottish dish. There's a few different ways that they make it, and they can't really make it in the traditional way and sell it in the United States. So it has like beef heart, lung, and liver. And it just looks like ground beef though. And like I had it with eggs. And it was delicious. It was actually really, really good. But they had this booth there of this company that does like the CAC test and all this kind of thing. And so and I got a brochure and kind of thought about it while I was there and went ahead and got it. But it was like $79 and it tests like just all of that. I just haven't made an appointment yet. And a part of my thing is I'm kind of afraid to do it. I mean, I think that I would be okay. I've been like low carb since 2015. And as far as I know, I never really had any, like I never was diabetic and other than I did have gestational diabetes, but it was controlled. But I don't know. There's a part of me, I'm like Susan, in a sense, they say the curiosity killed the cat. I'm curious, but then I'm like, once you know, you can't unknow. So it's kind of, I haven't scheduled it yet.
Would you change anything if you got a result that was scary?
Probably not. I mean, because I feel too good otherwise.
Yeah.
But it's like I understand where Susan's coming from about just the knowing, though, because that's like, well, dadgummit, now I know. But
Nicole,
we just have to remember, though, that we've all eaten, like, to varying degrees, pretty crappily up until we, discovered this way of eating.
Mm-hmm.
So
I didn't.
Chances are any damage that was done way before we started eating this way.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't eat red meat for about 30 years.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I went from a plant forward standard American diet to what was, I guess it would be considered a keto diet, I started adding red meat back into, my repertoire of foods. And it was a strange thing to do after having gone that long.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only time I had red meat was when I had some venison that had been ethically harvested. And I was hesitant to even eat it because I thought, oh, this is just going to tear me up, because I had suffered with, IBS for years and years. And it was fine. It was fine. My body loved it. But then other than that, decades and without eating, not eating a proper human diet. So yeah, I can kind of understand not wanting to know, because I know I wouldn't change anything even if I got a result that was scary. Because
Yeah,
I feel so much better.
Yeah, I know I wouldn't change anything, because I just feel, like you said, I just feel so much better, more energy,
Mm-hmm.
no anxiety. I mean, that's still just incredible to me. That's just my main message. I mean, yes, low carb and keto controlled my blood sugar, and I didn't have problems before. It's just that I saw how my mother was living, the quality of her life, and she was taking insulin, basically eating what she wanted, and they had told her, though, it was okay as long as you take enough insulin to accommodate whatever you eat. It's okay to eat what you want, just make sure that you bolus accordingly. And this is the thing that just kills me, and this is why I think that she was listening to what they said, because my mother, when I was growing up, and even when I was in my teens and 20s, my mother never so much as took an aspirin. And we would go to, like, what they called the health food store on occasion, and she would get like red raspberry leaf tea. She was very careful about what she put in her body. And like, of course, we were pretty broke when I was growing up too. We didn't have that much money, but we did not have like what she called sugary cereals. We did have like cornflakes, but anything with like added sugar and stuff. And we just never had that. We didn't have sodas. So it's just funny. Then fast forward, and she ended up just eating just anything. And I just believe that she just listened to what they said, and, oh, well, you can have spaghetti or just whatever. And so she did. And she just kept taking more and more insulin. She had a long acting and a fast acting insulin. So there was, toward the end, she was taking two different kinds, and she had been, a slender, not quite as bony and skinny as me, but I mean, she was pretty slender. And then just throughout, after she was diagnosed with the diabetes and stuff, and especially once she started taking that insulin, boy, that her weight just went up and just kept going and going and going. And her quality of life just got worse and worse and worse and worse. She never had anything amputated or anything like that. But I mean, it was like she couldn't get up and get around and do things that she used to do, like going to shows. Like, she was always into country music, whereas I'm into like rock and metal. But same difference. She enjoyed going to the shows and just being in that environment and just enjoying the music. And she got to where she couldn't do that. And it just, when I saw that, I just knew I wanted to head that off at the pass. So that's what got me into low carb. So anybody else want to share how they got into it?
Renee.
What?
Your turn, Renee. How did you get into the low carb?
I've been watching Dr. Barry since he started. My husband got cancer in 2016, which we've done Atkins, and we've done all the diets. But when he got cancer, it was pretty severe, and so I dove into the internet and found this. So I actually put him on carnivore, but it wasn't. I didn't read that it was called carnivore then. You know what I mean? I just wanted to get him back to zero and start, and he got over it. That's been 6 years ago now that he's been cancer free. But
wow.
and I've been watching all these people do keto, and like I said, Dr. Barry, I've been watching him from the beginning. Nobody ever said it, because I have congestive heart failure, COPD, all kind of other things. I got 7 messed up discs in my back. They want to replace both my hips. But I was watching Todd with the carnivore cure, and I was watching him, and he was saying that it helped him. And we've been keto for a long time, off and on. You know, it's so easy to fall off keto for us. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I make the cheesecake. I make the other things, you know. So, but I lost 60 pounds doing keto. But like I said, it was years. But when I saw Todd talk about, because he had congestive heart failure, that it got his oxygen rate up, because my oxygen level's been 85 for years. They wanted me to get on oxygen years ago, and I just refused to. But when he started talking about that, I'm like, okay, I'll try. But I don't like meat. I really don't like meat. You know, I can do a little bit of meat, and I'm carbs. I'm all carbs. But anyway, I was like, I'll just give it a try. And my oxygen level went up from 85 to 95, 96 just doing that. So,
Wow.
but then that virus that Carrie gave me put a dent in the middle of it. So I'm just getting back onto it now. But my oxygen level's already back up, and I guess it's probably been 10 days. My oxygen level's already back up. So that's how I got into it. I credit, but it was, like I said, I've heard all the stories, all the things. I just never seen anybody with congestive heart failure, and I didn't think there was anything that was going to help that, you know. So that's what got me here.
All right, Susie, you're up.
All right. So, like I said, I had been trying to do 1 vegetarian meal and 2 vegan meals a day. And this was in the bad year, 2020. And I was having a lot of mood disturbance. My weight had gotten up to about 130 pounds, which is about as much as I've ever weighed as an adult. And I was not happy with, where I was in terms of, my physique and how I felt, energy levels. And I had just started going into menopause as well. So all of those things combined together. And I decided I wanted to make a change. And I knew I was going to be returning to the office at some point in time. And I couldn't fit into any of my work clothes. So I thought, okay, time to make a change. I remembered when I had done something called the wheat belly diet.
Yes, Dr. William Davis.
Remember that? And it was very effective for me, but I was doing it in a vegetarian style. So, but the removal of wheat and barley and some of the other grains really helped. I think it really helped with the inflammation. Mm-hmm. So I started with just going back to this wheat belly concept where I just removed bread the first week. All right, no bread. Second week, okay, I'm going to stop eating desserts. Third week, okay, I'm going to stop having snacks because I got into this crazy nacho thing where I was like bored, eat nachos. Had a meeting, might get hungry, eat nachos.
Mm-hmm.
Just not feeling great, eat nachos. So I had a lot of nachos. And like, okay, no more of the random nacho breaks. that was, that was hard too. And so I started getting, less inflammation, and my weight started to reduce a little bit. I started feeling a little bit better. And my husband had been bringing home some of these products that said keto, and I'm like, what is that? What is keto? I don't know what this is. So of course I went to YouTube, and I think it was Dr. Barry. Dr. Barry came up, and I started listening to some of the Dr. Barry videos. And I also came across Michaela Peterson and Jordan Peterson and heard their stories as well. And of course, my first reaction to Michaela Peterson's videos were, I mean, just inconceivable that anyone can exist on meat and meat alone. Of course, all the questions: how does she keep from getting scurvy? How does she get vitamin C? What about the fiber and all those things, right? Well, eventually, what I did was I went on to, I guess, a classic clean ketogenic diet where I was having, nuts, vegetables, lean meats, and an occasional little keto-based treat. I was making like keto biscuits and keto scones, on the weekend, having those types of things instead of just necessarily buying like the keto products. I was making a lot of experimentation with almond flour and coconut flour and that kind of stuff, a lot of avocados and artichokes, and going into the lower carb cruciferous vegetables. I developed a real fondness for bok choy at that time, and I was like all about bok choy and that sort of thing. Well, my desire to eat vegetables really started to reduce over time, and I got to where I was eating maybe some vegetable, but larger and larger amounts of meat, and I started adding grass-fed, grass-finished bison and elk back into my diet, because I knew I needed more protein. I was at the age where I could tell that I've been like, my muscle mass had reduced. I was going through sarcopenia, and I wanted to start rebuilding my body. I also started losing hair, which was really scary. And I know that that's not uncommon for people that are going through weight loss. I ended up losing 40 pounds, but I was shedding hair, and I was well under 18 BMI at that time. So I was underweight. So I had actually lost too much weight and swung the other direction. And I noticed that some of the walks that I had been taking over the last few years, some of the hills were starting to really tire me while just walking. I'm like, that's weird. Something's wrong, that like this walk I normally would take, I'm worn out from it. And I knew that I had been losing muscle mass. So I ended up going to higher fat, and I eventually just dropped the vegetables, and I focused strictly on protein and fat, increased my fat intake, and my hair started growing back. And I started getting all this like wild, like it's still like kind of out of control, but the wisps of hair that kind of like, they just started, especially like right around the hairline. And some of it was coming in a little bit darker than it had been, which was kind of wild too. And that's when I started working with a personal trainer once a week. And I could not believe the results. I gained an inch in my biceps just by meat and lifting heavy weights. And basically that's what Dr. Barry said, you want to grab muscle, eat meat, lift heavy things. And so I pretty much did that. And I saw my IBS almost basically disappear. I mean, it's rare that I have any symptoms. Usually it's because I've either overeaten fat or the dairies bother me, But I had been tested at one point in time to see if I had celiac disease, because I was having a lot of neurological symptoms too, based on, it was fibromyalgia and some peripheral neuropathy and different things, ocular migraines. I had some seizures. I had a lot of stuff going on with my nervous system. And anyway, what I noticed was the peripheral neuropathy got much better. I used to go to Zumba class and my feet would kind of go numb after class. It doesn't, that's gone. I had the reduction in inflammation in my gut. I used to get just horrible bloating. You can imagine having IBS and then eating plant-forward diet. Like the bloating, and it was intense. To the point that after my weight loss was complete, I still have a little bit of loose skin from just having chronic bloating since I was 16, right? And I'm in my mid-50s now. So that was a huge improvement. Rosacea went away. Raynaud's disease is like almost gone. You know, I haven't had a seizure. And the good thing about being on this diet, I have a very good likelihood of not having a seizure ever again.
Yeah, that's true, because now it has been used for over 100 years in the treatment of seizures. So that's kind of one area where people don't like say that's dangerous, because that's kind of an established protocol. Whereas, but only if you have seizures, you can be keto. You know, if you have anything else, it's still dangerous, which doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, but I mean, now it's like I had a seizure once at the dentist office. I was getting ready to have a filling filled, and I just had a seizure right there in the chair.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was like, don't know why, but I'm like, well, I'm glad it happened in the safety of the dentist office and not while I was like crossing the street, you know, and didn't just get myself run over, you know. So that's how I ended up with where I'm at now, which is mostly animal products. I eat a little bit of tree nuts every now and then. I'll have my mustard with my sardines, and of course I have my coffee and my tea. But that's the sound. That's the sound of my carnivore card being ripped from my hands. But I'll have a little bit of pickle too. You know, I was trying to do
pickle.
Yes, pickle.
My
But I was trying to do
You're muted, Renee.
Oh, Renee, I'm sorry. I'm talking over you.
I said them pickles is better than a cow stomachs. Go ahead.
Did you say a cow stomach?
Cow stomach.
Are you talking about my haggis?
Yeah, they was cow stomachs and tongues and
haggis, however you say it.
They didn't even tell them about.
All right, I got a sound for that.
You know, Nicole, we can be friends with them, but we can't break bread with them.
No,
party, but we're not going out to eat with y'all.
No. Or we can like go to different restaurants and then just meet up after.
That'll work.
Yeah, they can eat their weird things and we can go just eat steak.
Yeah, but it's hard for me to eat when I'm going. I can't eat
you and I are gonna have to do the haggis, I think, on our own. The water signs together. We're gonna just
this is true.
A video is not needed though, y'all. Video is not needed.
No, we don't need a mukbang.
No mukbang for haggis.
No evidence.
We got a follow up from Susan about the CAC. So she says she has not spoken to him yet. She got them Friday afternoon. It was self-paced, so I sent him the report. My left arterial artery is 701, but the other arteries are 0.
Huh. Yeah, the left from Kim, Nurse Kim actually did. She was live with Greg and Brian during one of their football things on Thursday nights, and she talked about all things heart. She was a cardiac nurse for many years, and she mentioned, and I don't want to scare you anymore, Susan, but I don't know, this isn't my area. I'm not a heart person, but what she did say was if anything were to happen to your left side, that's a side that you have to worry about. But yeah, I recommend going back to like go on Nurse Kim's channel under her live tab and watch that live stream because she did she even drew diagrams, like she did an
Oh,
in-depth
wow.
discussion on cardiac. So yeah, I forget when they streamed. I think it was like a week or two, but yeah, it's on Nurse Kim's live stream tab if you want to go check that out.
Who was she talking to?
She was talking to Brian Wicko's Carnivore and Greg My Weight Loss Life. They do football live stream every Thursday night, and Nurse Kim was a guest on their stream. And I forget how the heart thing came up, but she spent a good 15 minutes like in depth. Like it was really good. It was very, very, very informative.
I'll say because I watched that, but I don't remember her talking about that. I certainly don't remember no graphics.
Yeah, she was like doodling and stuff.
Wow.
She was like drawing. She drew like what your pulse should look like and what it actually looks like when things happen. Yeah, she was all sorts of doodling things over there.
Oh, wow. I'll have to check that out. Thanks for the tip there. That's one I didn't see.
You two can go eat with Susan because she likes the haggis too.
Ah.
Nope.
I think she's a sea creature too. She must have. I think she said she liked sardines earlier too. So yeah, that's among them water people.
We have a lot in common, Susan.
Bruce says that his CAC was 0, but the doctor still wants him on PCSK9 inhibitors.
Why?
That's a personal decision that you make with your doctor. I will say all of the research I've done, and Dr. Berry's got excellent videos that talk about what that medication actually does. And can you have your LDL to be too low? And it's very interesting and eye-opening to realize, because the propaganda or the conventional wisdom seems to say that, you know, if we get your LDL down to 20, that's optimal. And in reality, that's like not even physiologically practical. Like no human naturally would have an LDL cholesterol of that low. So I would definitely do my due diligence and research. I know my physician, my LDL is almost 300, and it's been over 200 for like 7 years. And every year I just politely decline the statins, and then that's all that's ever said of it. You know, in terms of statins now, I would hope that they know better than to suggest the PCSK9 inhibitors. I will not touch those with somebody else's 10-foot pole. That is just, yeah.
Your body's going to make cholesterol, whether you give it to it from saturated fat or not. Your body is going to produce it because it needs it. So it's going to get it one way or the other. And some people genetically have naturally higher cholesterol. You only have one cholesterol. LDL is literally lipoprotein. That's what transports the cholesterol to the cells. But people genetically, some people naturally have higher cholesterol than others genetically, because your body does have the ability to produce its own to some extent. Obviously, of course, it would be better to get it from food, and from food, we get it from saturated fat, not dietary cholesterol like egg yolks. We get our cholesterol from saturated fat. But your body's going to make it one way or the other. Your body's going to get cholesterol. So that's why I don't understand. I'm probably somewhere in the middle as far as, I don't know. I can't say with confidence if my doctor said your LDL's high. I think I would turn down a statin because I've turned down meds before. But as far as the train of thought, I don't know if I can confidently say, like, I don't know if I would be confident to say I never have to worry about LDL at this point. Like, there are two camps and they're both on polar opposite sides. Maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle, but yeah, if it ever came to that for me, I'm not sure how I would feel in the moment with those results. I would definitely turn down a statin because I've turned down meds before, but I still don't know where my train of thought is with that yet. I don't know. What do you guys think? Where do you guys fall on that camp, or are you still kind of up in the air?
They put a hubby on statins years ago, and after I got to looking up that, it all it does is mask the test. It doesn't do anything from what I read, but I wouldn't take it. My LDL is 63.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's all them carbs. I don't know.
Dun dun dun.
Oh wait, I do have that. I got or
Oh, love it.
it's not all Christmas up in here.
That's her cardiologist not even available until January 24th.
The heck?
I know. That just blows my mind. It's like if it was that serious, they would get you to another doctor, I would think. If it was too
Yeah. And it's, I'll tell you, in a sense, it is very easy for somebody to sit and say, well, I would do this and I would do that. And you're certainly right, Nicole. It's, when you are faced with something yourself, until you're faced with something, you just don't know. Now, for me, I have done extensive research about statins and that sort of thing. And I also am so concerned about metabolic health, like having low triglycerides. I would much rather have that and high HDL. And I think those two things are more indicative of whether or not, and also I had my fasting insulin tested, which is at 3.8, which is, it's not too low, but it's definitely not high. So I'm relatively confident based on the research that I've done that my LDL of almost 300 isn't dangerous. Mm-hmm. However, you certainly can't, like if I were to have a CAC score, I mean, would that encourage a higher CAC score or something, or a CAC score for somebody who's 57 would be considered high or whatever? I don't know. I don't think I would take statins. And part of the reason for that is I saw firsthand what side effects they had on my mother. Actually, she had, of course, when you're diabetic, they put you on everything. There's this whole protocol, and they put her on statins. And my dad called me and he was concerned because she couldn't remember how to check her blood sugar. And this is something she had been doing for years. And I asked him, I said, well, has she had any, because first thing I just thought medication change. And I said, has she been, had a change in medication, or is she on a new medication? Is something going on? And so he got the bottles of medication and read off what they were. And one of them was the generic statin. And and of course, maybe I shouldn't have, but I just said, tell her not to take those anymore. And so she didn't take them. And then her memory came back, and so that was just like, yeah, okay. So I saw, this was like in 2016, maybe. Again, the years, I will be in conversation with my daughter, okay? And I'll say, yeah, I remember a couple of years ago when such and such, say, Mama, that was like 6 years ago. So, sometimes I have this time dysfunction in my head where time passage, misperception. So, but I'm thinking that was around like 2016 when that happened. And I was just like, yeah, I know. I just can't see myself ever taking one, but you never know, I guess. Hard to say. And Bruce says that his LDL was 365 this last go around. That was his concern. So, yeah, and Bruce says, still resisting. All my other numbers are perfect or improving. Yeah, and it's a decision you have to just weigh your, I think if you do your due diligence and really do a lot of research and don't go in with any necessary like predeterminations in your mind, try to keep an open mind about everything you read. Like that's sort of how I stumbled into low carb. Initially, of course, they always say that, the plant-based and all that, but then you quickly figure out that doesn't work so well, or at least for me. Like it made my stomach, for example, like you were talking about earlier, it was about making your stomach just all bloated and stuff. Like eating all that salad just did not. Oh, it was terrible. I would
Did
get
you
on
feel like,
exactly.
you know what I'm saying? I had to use
Yes.
that. I have to use that at least once per stream. I had to get it in.
We have to talk about poop, and I will tell you that the salad made me very gassy.
We
Oh,
already
I
talked
got
about
one.
poop.
Yes.
No, we already talked about poop, but that Hagen stuff. We already did the poop.
Yes, just like that. Walking park, y'all.
Oh, sound effects.
Everybody should do deep research into anything any doctor wants to give them. I mean, or your own problems. That's just a fact these days. You know, I know there's some doctors out there that you can go to who's going to give you the right information and explain it to you and all that, but they're so few and far in between. Most of us have doctors that you're going to have to go do all your own research on everything that you have and everything they want to give you. I mean, that's just a given today.
Yeah. And thankfully, I mean, at least right now, it appears that you can access that information, which is good. I get concerned that maybe at some point we're not going to be able to do our own research because the information is not going to be available to us to do
That's
it.
why you need books. You got to have books out in the library.
Oh, and I have my books. You better believe it.
So because you're right, there's going to be a time where all you're going to get is the lies out here too. That's like when hubby had cancer. They literally scared the crap out of us. You know, I mean, you got to do this right now. They wanted to do, I think it was 16 rounds of chemo and like 24 rounds of radiation. I don't remember what all that exactly the numbers were there. And he did 2 rounds of chemo. But I was over here 24 hours a day looking into this and giving him all the information. And he went back and told the doctor, I'm not taking anymore and I'm not doing the radiation. I was more worried about the radiation than the chemo, but he did do 2 rounds and then we detoxed him out of that. And but the doctors told him that there ain't no diet gonna save you, ain't no God gonna save you, ain't no prayers gonna save. He literally told him that and said, you'll be back here in 3 months begging for treatment, it'll be too late.
The heck?
I wish I'd have recorded it. And we went back after because we kept going. That was the radiation doctor that told us that. The other doctor, the chemo doctor, was he was a little more whatever you want to do. And so when because he had, I mean, this softball on his neck was just growing daily. It was actually hurting he couldn't swallow good. It was affecting his breathing. And they said that, I asked him, I said, is there any, because it was going down. You could watch it shrink every day. And so I asked the chemo doctor he said the chemo helps shrink it, but the chemo's not going to make it go away. He said, I wish it would. He said, you've got to have the radiation. I took him everything that we were doing for my husband, typed it out, print. Okay, here, this is what we're doing. Because he just kept saying, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. It's looking good, whatever you're doing. So I brought him in what we were doing. And he's like, yeah, he said, we looked into this a little bit, but we don't have time for that. That's what they said. And off of every elevator, I think it was 4 stories. That building is, off of every elevator was this card table just stacked up 4 or 5 deep with pastries off of every floor. And they told him not to diet. When we first went there, they told him, don't diet, don't change none, keep eating like you're eating. We don't want you to lose any weight, just keep, which I get the weight part, but don't change any of your diet. They literally told him, don't change your diet, which was crap.
Damn.
Wow. That's incredible. And then not in a good way.
No, yeah.
I mean, you hear these things and it's just, you believe it, but at the same time, it's difficult to believe. You know what I'm saying? Like I totally believe it because I've heard other stories and I've known family members who have had some experiences with things. So you believe it. It's just, but it's like you just can't conceive of the fact that this is how you're advised. It's just like my brother and I, when we were going to Tulsa, to and from, actually, we had discussions about a lot of things because there's a lot of time when you're driving 9 hours. and we did talk about just the medical establishment and the pharmaceutical companies, and just how what we're told to eat just perpetuates this cycle of, then you need medicine to stay, and then it's like you take one medicine and then you have side effects from that, and so then you have to take another one for this, and then you get into polypharmacy. It's just, and when you really start thinking about it and you think, is it really that calculated, or did it just kind of end up working out that way? Do people really think that they're advising the correct thing? And I don't know the answer. I don't guess anybody.
I think for the most part that the doctors believe that they're doing what they were taught. So I do believe for the most part they believe that. That's like when I first hurt my back. I mean, I was literally on like 7 or 8 medicines. All these medicines supposed to turn off the pain receptors in you. I couldn't take that stuff. I call it psycho drugs. I don't, you know what I mean? It's a whole bunch of different. They had me on morphine, methadone, all kind of other stuff. You know what I mean? And I was still hurting. Nothing was helping it. You know, it would take the edge off a little bit, but that was it. It wasn't. None of it was helping. And so they just kept giving me more and more and more medicines till finally they diagnosed me with fibromyalgia. I literally couldn't touch. My skin hurt. My hair hurt. I'm brushing my hair hurt. And so then I got fibromyalgia, and I went to this another specialist who handed me 3 prescriptions, and I'm like, I can't keep doing it. I'm just getting worse and worse. And so hubby told me about a naturopathic doctor that came out there to his company one time and gave them a little speech. And I called him up and went and talked to him. And he's like, I can't legally tell you to stop taking these medicines, but I can tell you that they've eaten away the nerve endings. So it's shooting pain constantly. And so I went home and got I went through some withdrawals on that stuff too. Went home, got all them, put them in a bag, tied a knot in it, threw it in the corner, and detoxed myself off of it. And within 2 weeks, I was back to just my back hurting again, which is where I started.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia as well. It was back probably, I was maybe late 20s, early 30s. And it was a diagnosis of elimination where they tested my B12, they tested for celiac, they tested me for MS. And I felt very over-doctored through that whole process. But they ended up having a spinal tap done for me. Yeah, and I had the spinal tap headache as a result of that. And it was the worst pain I'd ever experienced. You know, it was like someone was beating my head with a hammer. I couldn't sit upright, you know, and it was just like one thing led to another. And then, of course, the medications. And nothing really ever helped. I mean, it really never, ever helped. What helped, at least for me, for my fibromyalgia, was the low-carb diet. You know, the reduction of the inflammation, you know, because I had been eating very, very low fat, very low protein. I was doing all the things that you do to like damage your nervous system, you know, and through improper nutrition.
Low carb didn't do. I mean, I lost some weight. I probably lost about 60 pounds over the years on doing keto, but it never got rid of any pain. It never helped any breathing. It never did anything physically for me other than the weight. And I actually thought that if I just lost some weight, that would help my back, but it didn't. But doing the carnivore, which, like I said, I did about 30 days. Then I got the virus that Carrie gave me. And then, so now I'm back on it now for probably about 10 days. But I got more relief from doing the carnivore than I did all those years of doing keto. Even when I did strict keto and not all the other, let's see if we can make this taste like real food, you know. So
the keto biscuits.
Oh yeah, I did. I got the bread. I did all the things.
Yeah.
I got a whole pantry in there full of almond flour and coconut flour and everything you need. You got to have 50 ingredients to make one dinner over, you know, in the keto. If you want to make it like real food.
I'm too lazy to do that, man. And that's, I think, is where my daughter, though, like, see, my daughter is low carb / keto. And I think part of the issue too is my grandson. Now I'm getting crotchety in my old age, and I would just be telling him, look, you eat what I fix, or you can fix something yourself. That's what I would probably do. Actually, I'd been known to say that when my kids were young, although to be fair, I've never been much of a cook, so, for what it's worth. I just, but here's the thing, she does, and she's very skilled at cooking. She inherited both of her grandmother's abilities, and they were both fantastic cooks and very instinctive cooks. Like they just knew, like they could do a pinch of this and a dash of that. Like me, I need measurements. You need to, okay, how much is a pinch? Is this a pinch? Or, how much is a pinch?
It's Merrill. You just take a thing, go bam.
Yeah. Right. And I just don't have that instinct, but my daughter has it. So she would she is very skilled at making the keto stuff. But if you're not careful with that, it can, some of it is not much better than just the regular.
That's where people get into trouble. Like they call themselves keto. So when I say I'm more so keto, like half the month, I'm whole food keto still. I don't do the muffins and any of that junk. And carnivore, there's a lot of people doing carnivore treats and all this stuff now too. I'm like, just eat real food. Just eat animal food. Just meat, eggs, butter. And bacon, and if you want a little bit of carb, I stick with the berries, the avocado, like the lower sugary stuff. But yeah, a lot of these people who are doing keto are still doing the flours and the grains and all these things, and that's where they don't find relief in a lot of these symptoms because they're still eating the super inflammatory foods, because technically, like nuts can still be keto. And when I say I eat cashews, it's not every day. But that's where a lot of people get into trouble, in my opinion, doing keto, because there's multiple ways of doing any way of eating, whatever. Even carnivore, there's ways in doing carnivore. So I mean, it depends on the types of foods you're eating and what you mean by keto, low carb, carnivore, and all that stuff.
Yeah, if you look at the back of the packets, some of the keto products are full
It's
of
terrible. It's worse than the regular stuff.
you're like, there's organic coconut sugar. Like, it's supposed to be keto.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sugar.
Yeah.
I know. And I'm like, you have to look at everything. And of course, some of this stuff has the higher oxalate ingredients too. So if you're oxalate sensitive, you're not helping yourself out with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And like keto bread, I mean, that is just such an oxymoron anyway. I'm just like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's not real bread. I made them all. I made them all.
Not even that. I'm talking about the ones that you buy in the grocery store. Like they'll have bread on the shelf.
I bought them. I made them.
And it says keto bread. And it's just like, but for one thing, the slices are very, very thin. If you've ever noticed on there, because I've looked at it before, just because out of curiosity more than anything, because I'm just like, really, keto bread, huh? How does that work? And
my bad. What am I doing? My hand slipped. I'm sorry.
Come Santa Claus here.
Wait, but Sean,
that's about how you're gonna get keto bread, is if Santa Claus brings it,
Well, wait, Sean, Carnivore Trucker, just got off a stream and he's here. So welcome, Sean.
Yes. Hello, Butter Trucker.
If you're late, Sean, I'm having a slight identity crisis. I'm like decked out in Christmas stuff when I'm playing Halloween stuff. I don't know what holiday it is, so my bad, folks.
She was traumatized this morning, though.
I was definitely traumatized this morning. But Chad had a funny comment. He says he told his wife I wanted to do a home improvement. She gave me $1,000 and told me to move out.
I love it. That's great.
And then he says, any of you 4 women annoy your husband? I mean, in what way? I annoy him all the time, because I go into his man room that I gave him and said, hey, you want to hear something gross? And he says no, and I tell him anyway. So it depends on what you mean by annoy, because I try to gross him out at least once a day.
Hey, I was so annoying that I don't have a husband anymore. There we go.
Oh, I'm road ragey. So I don't drive anymore. That's because of the seizure stuff. I was, that's by choice, but I have no carnivores in the car at
No, me
all.
neither.
No, I'm like,
I don't have
go,
carnivores
go,
in
go.
anywhere.
Yeah, I'm a bad influence.
I'm waiting
so-
on it.
You're waiting on it.
I'm waiting on it. It ain't hit me yet, but I'm waiting on it.
I want
Also-
the
I'm
carnivores
also-
in. I do. It's just like, no, I don't. It's not happening yet.
I'm also
I
waiting.
have it for the most part. I will say that driving is a challenge, but the Nashville area has changed so much in the last 10 years. It's gotten just so congested, and it's been difficult for them to keep up with like road construction and stuff like that to control, to fall in line with the growth. And I go do my grocery shopping at like 7:00 in the morning on Sundays generally, because that's just when there's nobody else out. Everybody's, hungover. So, or they're getting ready for church.
Song, the day after the country song. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can come to DC. It'll make Nashville traffic seem like a cakewalk.
Well, yeah, or Los Angeles. I mean, I know that there are people like I know, and there's no telling now what it's like. But my son and I had gone on a Route 66 road trip right after he graduated from college. We were gone for 3 weeks, and we went all the way to San Bernardino and back. And it was going through Los Angeles. I was just, oh my God, 200 lanes. We need to be way over there. But he handled it like
they drive
a
100
pro.
miles an hour there too.
Oh, and they have I can't remember what the term is, but it's like where motorcycles can pass between cars.
I don't know.
Like it's some kind, there's a term for it. And here's the thing, my son is such a nerd. He looked up like all of the just like rules and just stuff that, for every state we were going to be going through. So he knew that it was legal for it. Cause there was this motorcycle that seriously, he barely squeezed between us. And I mean, we were like hauling it on the interstate. I mean, you kind of had to haul it or you'd get run over. And this motorcycle just, a little crotch rocket and just squeezed in between the two cars. And I was like, oh my God, Hunter, did you see that? And he said, yeah, that's legal here. And he had a term for it. And I just don't remember.
Yeah, that's dangerous too.
I was like, you've got to be kidding. I said, are you serious?
Yeah.
I thought that was illegal. I thought that would be illegal anywhere. But
it's so dangerous. And in Pennsylvania, you don't have to wear a helmet riding a motorcycle either.
No.
I said the only way I would ever drive in Los Angeles again is if I had a ramp on the back and the front. They could just go, and I'm an aggressive driver. I'm a very aggressive driver. I get at least 2 speeding tickets every year. And that's the only way I would go back there again is if they could just go right over me. Because I mean, it's crazy there.
Well,
But see,
Sean.
y'all couldn't handle the town I live in. We don't even have a red light.
Oh, really?
Traffic,
We don't even have a red light here.
Well, Sean says, Renee, he's glad to put a face to the name.
Ah, yeah. And he also says he hates Atlanta traffic. Yes, Atlanta traffic is bad. A friend and I drove down to a football game, and well, I say a friend and I don't know how I got suckered into driving, but I was the one driving. And that's funny because everybody who knows me knows that I will do anything. Like basically I paid for the road trip just so my son would drive. So like I paid for everything when we went out west and back, but he did every bit of driving and we took his car. But yeah, so we drove down there, and Atlanta was nuts too. And their airport is very big and confusing.
Well, Sean, I don't usually look like this. This is my costume. I'm an older, mature Nicole today, but I look nothing like this on a regular basis. Just so you know, you still don't know.
I'm not dressed up. No.
She's like, I woke up like this.
This is
how I usually look.
This is my normal look.
Yeah.
Carrie got them black lines right here. I think that's scurvy.
I do. I have scurvy.
Scurvy. We haven't checked for scurvy today.
Scurvy and high LDL.
You need to increase your orange consumption. Get some citrus fruits in.
Fiber.
Yeah. In the form of whole wheat pasta.
Oh, for sure. And some keto bread.
The food of my people.
Holy pasta.
Look at the Beppo.
Bonito. Yeah. Whatever. Then Susan says, try driving in London or Rome.
Yeah, but they got those mini cars. They got those itty bitty cars, those little smart cars.
The little
Yeah.
Fiat.
Yeah.
Fiat. Yes. What is that movie? The Ronin.
Italian Job?
Well, and Ronin is the one I'm specifically thinking of, where they had the car chases in Italy, in Rome, and the narrow corridor streets, the like alleyway type. That's what they look like to me, but they were actually streets. And
I'm sorry. Sean? Really, Sean? I'm not offended. I'm wearing a onesie and I would wear this every day of the week, but Susie and Carrie, come on. And Renee is an older and wiser Nicole. Is what I aspire to be when I grow up.
I did not say wiser.
I mean,
older, mature. You threw that in there.
I mean, wiser, smarter, right? You got to be smarter than me.
Yeah, because you've never seen a Thanksgiving chicken before.
297 is what mine was. 222. That's a good number. That's a spiritual number.
At least it's not 666.
This is true. Oh, I'm working my way up there. I mean, eventually I probably
Is that your goal?
Yes. I mean, aim high, right?
That's the Air Force slogan.
Though, after going carnivore, because I was what they call a lean mass hyperresponder. I mean, I was my LDL just like jumped up there. My triglycerides dropped way down. I mean, they range anywhere between 60 and 77, just kind of depending.
I think it should be highest score wins.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
I don't know what mine is. The last time I had labs, I had been on keto. I guess it was ketovore at the time for maybe 6 months. And they said, perfectly normal. Everything's perfectly normal. That's all they told me. So wow. I guess I'm good. Yeah, but I'm curious. I'd like to have mine done and, see how the doctor reacts to that.
Well,
yeah, I told everybody the story that my husband had gone in and he had a preliminary discussion with the doctor. We have the same doctor, and he was like, by the way, I'm eating this. I'm not taking statins. And it came back, his blood work was like perfectly fine. So, but now the doctor knows that my husband's doing keto. So yeah, I haven't told the doctor that I'm doing carnivore yet. He knew I was doing. He was actually seemed pretty open that I was doing low carb when I went, to last time I was in.
Just leave it there. Low carb, keto, Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Here's what I say. I mean, if it comes up, I say that I have eliminated seed oils and grains and inflammatory vegetables. So that doesn't and sugar. So I mean, hello, what does that leave you? But I don't just say, I'm eating all meat or I'm eating low carb. I just phrase it that way. And I'm sure my doctor knows something's up because my triglycerides are really low and my HDL is high. My fasting insulin is low and my glucose is low, or not too low. You know what I'm saying? It's acceptable, I guess.
Why are y'all worried about telling your doctor what you're eating?
I'm not necessarily worried about it so much as I had initially, what happened was I just heard of a lot of people having bad experiences when they would tell their doctors. And so I didn't want to like be the person that was like poking the bear, so to speak, like, well, I'm eating this way. And because like Dr. Berry says, doctors are just dudes and chicks. They're people. And so it kind of depends too on how you approach people. And if you're approaching somebody from a completely different paradigm, you sort of just like throw it out there, it might make them like defensive and they want to argue. Whereas if you just sort of ease into it. So I'm not keeping it a secret. And it was funny because because I had lost so much weight after I went carnivore, the nurse asked me, she says, do you eat meat? And I said, oh yeah, tons of it. And she says, oh, well, that's good. She thought I had lost all my that much weight because I went vegetarian.
Oh.
And she was like, oh no, that's good. She said, oh, okay, that's good.
I can't wait to poke the bear. I'm looking for a new doctor. I can't wait to poke him.
Oh, you really are like a
I'm a bear
more
poker
mature
too.
Nicole. Just
I can't wait. I can't wait to tell him. I found a carnivore cardiologist.
Yeah.
And I've already went and
Oh.
seen him, but he was more impressed that I found out he was carnivore than
Wow.
what I was there for.
All right.
He
Well,
just kept saying, how'd you find out? Dude, I just hit Google carnivore cardiologist. He popped up.
damn.
that's
Wow.
fabulous.
Reading. So he was pretty impressed with my Google abilities, but other than that, I'm still looking for a regular doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, now if my doctor, I'll tell you, I'll go to my brother's doctor if mine ever get. I've been seeing this same doctor. I started seeing him like right after he got out of med school, and a friend of mine had recommended him and just said he was really good. And so I've sort of grown up with him, or he's sort of grown up with me, or I don't know. So I mean, like he'll ask about my kids and just stuff. So it's like he's not really. I think he has to tick boxes in terms of the whole recommending a statin and whatever. And I have explained to him before, I'm much more concerned about becoming diabetic because that's a much bigger indicator of whether you're ever going to end up with heart issues and, have a heart attack and clogged arteries and all that. So, your LDL just isn't as big of a indicator. Actually, it isn't at all, but really. So he and I just have that kind of a relationship. But if he ever were to nag me, my brother and I had talked about this on a post on my channel a while back, but my brother had gone to his doctor and was saying that he was talking about he had gone low carb and was thinking about going carnivore. And his doctor actually said, oh, well, there's an even stricter version of carnivore called Lion. And I was like, so what did your doctor say about carnivore? And he said, oh, he just said he's heard good things about it. And I'm like, wow, and that's pretty incredible that the doctor didn't just like freak out and be like, you don't need to be doing low carb or you don't blah, blah. And instead just was like carrying on a conversation about, the variations in the proper human diet, that sort of thing. So if my doctor ever gives me a hassle, I'll go to my brother's doctor, but I don't think he will. Honestly.
Yeah,
So
I had a doctor. My doctor was 30. I had him for 33 years, and he literally watched me decline for 33 years. Never said anything about diet.
Well, here's the problem, though. If they say something about diet, it's going to be wrong. Generally,
that's what I'm saying. But he didn't. He didn't even try. My triglycerides one time were 600 and something, and he just want to give me a pill.
Oh my God.
I'm like, no. And he knows I'm not going to take his pills.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what they do.
Only time I gave into his pills is when I hurt my back. And then they could have shot me up with whatever they wanted to, for real. I didn't care. I just give me this, and I need something else because this ain't working. I need more because this ain't working. It was one of them deals. So
I just want to read a funny comment I got about carbs. Like he was being very sarcastic. I love this guy, but it was really funny. So it was on this recent video I did. He put, I'm a commissioner in the carnivore police and working in the carb squad. I'm sorry to tell you this, but you're getting a fine. We can't have people going around eating carbs. It's dangerous to public health. In fact, you're required to accompany me to the station for an interview. So stop struggling, or we'll do you for resisting arrest. And before you ask, you don't have any rights, and the Constitution doesn't matter. You're coming with us.
That's
best comment ever.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, I just think that it's important for people to do N=1 experiments and find out what works for you. We just all come from varied ethnicities and backgrounds, and our genetics are just, we're all humans, but at the same time, our genetics vary in terms of, like, some people their ancestors may have had more of a coastal diet. Maybe they had a lot of fish and stuff in their diets, whereas, then you have other people that would have more of a, like a ruminant diet or just whatever. But it's just, it just depends on your Some might have even had a little more carbs in their diet than others. Some had dairy and others didn't. So it just really depends on how your lineage evolved. And so people finding out what's best for them. And really, truthfully, if you are eating low carb and you're not eating the seed oils, the breads, the grains, sugar, you were just way ahead of the curve as far as I'm concerned. If everybody was eating like that, I don't think we would have the health problems that we're having, just if they just went that far. Just my opinion, for what it's worth.
About 5 cents.
Yeah, Bruce's LDL was 365. How's that? Yeah, he's got an LDL for every day of the year.
I was thinking that too. This is an LDL competition.
That's right. Highest one wins. I think he's the highest one so far. Like, I hadn't even hit 300 yet.
I'm glad to be on the losing end of that one.
Yeah, you have a golfing score.
That's great.
And mine went down when I did carnivore because I had it checked like 6 months earlier, and then it was right at 30 days when I had it checked again, and it went way down.
Interesting.
I actually was wondering if they didn't have me mixed up with somebody else, but we're rolling with it. I'm claiming it. It's in my phone.
There you
It's in my
go.
truck. I got it.
It's
All right.
mine.
My babies are here, girls. I got to go.
Aw.
Oh.
Bye, Renee.
Bye.
Bye.
And
How do I get out of here?
Like, now
click
what?
leave studio. There you go.
It's like Hotel California.
Oh,
You can
man.
check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. All right. Well, this has been fun, you guys. I'm really excited that we get to, and of course, look, I can't help, I love Halloween. I just love it. I used to dress up like this, and I would take my daughter and my niece, and then later, let's see, there's like 9.5 years difference between my son and daughter. So then after she started getting too old to go trick-or-treating, I had my son and I could take him.
Yay.
And so I did. I loved it. And I still love Halloween, but I don't get very many trick-or-treaters. I think more people do the trunk or treat and all that stuff.
Oh,
now.
that was big.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, our road's too busy. Yeah,
And
it's-
I've heard some folks doing discussions about, I'm not giving out candy in some of the low carb communities. And I understand the sentiment, but at the same time, like, I think people need to be very careful with their kids in terms of, like, for example, I had a really good friend in high school whose parents were very, very strict on her. And you know what happened when she turned 18?
She went the other way.
Buck ass wild is what happened with her. And I just think that if you're too restrictive with kids and they get resentful, and I understand you don't want, you try to say, like, they'll say, well, my friends do whatever. And then you try to say, well, I know, but if your friends jumped off the bridge, would you? Or that kind of thing. Well, they probably would jump off the bridge if their friends did. Truthfully, they probably would. There's something to be said about fitting in. So you don't want to, but you don't want to be off-putting. Like, I don't, like, for example, when I talk about low carb and stuff, for one thing, like in my private life, I don't bring it up unless anybody asks me. And then if I do, I will definitely share about it. And I certainly, like, if I'm eating lunch with somebody, and they know, all my friends know, I mean, I'm eating, the burger patties, or I'm eating a steak and eggs, something like that, whenever I go out to eat. And they can eat whatever, and I'm not going to say, ooh, they're eating bread and pasta, breadsticks, whatever. I'm not going to criticize what they do. I think we can do better instead of preaching at people, leading by example, because it'll just make people rebel, or it just makes you think, it makes you seem like you're snooty or holier than thou, or like, I know it sort of reminds me of the vegans, how they are with people. Like you're just too dumb to know, or you're just, you really need to do this because it's the right thing to do. And you're just being stupid or whatever. And that's not going to win friends anywhere, having that kind of an attitude toward people. So I don't know. I hope people are careful about allowing their kids to participate or whatever with trick-or-treating and stuff. It's because you would just hate to see your kids go out and just do like my friend did. And just like, I mean, that girl started drinking. That girl just like, she just went totally, and not that I'm saying as a parent that you should like let your kids drink. That's not what I mean. But her parents were so strict on her. Like there were just so many things that she couldn't do that even, that most people could. And she just went buck wild. And I don't know. That was a pointless rant. But I feel bad for some kids. Like I remember, what were they? Were they Mormon? A girl I went to school with, and they had a lot of limitations, things that they couldn't eat and stuff. And she was a sweet girl, and we were friends. But at the same time, I just remember she would talk sometimes about being frustrated because they couldn't do this or that or have this or that. This is a fine line to walk, I guess.
Well, if you think about it, all of our holidays are around food. And to me, that's part of the emotional eating thing, because there is this social and environmental aspects to it as well. And that's where the addiction and all that stuff. I'm not saying that's the only cause. I'm just saying it's a slippery slope. But if you think about it, we're about to come up on Thanksgiving, and people carbo load, and you feel like absolute garbage afterwards. You want to go pass out and take a nap. So friendly tip. Just get little tastings of all the foods or whatever. If you so choose, I'm not, a food police, but if you so choose,
right,
get little samplings of whatever it is you want to eat. And then literally immediately following dinner, go for a walk, because that will help stabilize your blood sugar and help you feel better. And then you have Christmas coming up. Same thing. You have all this cookie. I'm Italian family, right? Italian and Polish. So you have all these cookies, and some of my cousins make the pizzelles and all these Italian cookies and things. Then you have Valentine's Day, which is chocolates and dinner and wine, and then Halloween chocolate. It's like every single thing.
That's true. That's a good
revolves around junk food and booze for the adults, every single thing. So I don't know how that happened, but it's damn good marketing, if you ask me, to get a whole country to celebrate in that way. That's some damn good marketing.
Yeah. And Sean, the carnivore trucker, Daddy Butter. Carrie, to your point, I grew up strict Jehovah's Witness, and when I turned 18, left the church and rebelled. Yeah, and I understand, respecting like cultural backgrounds and things like that. I just think that sometimes when parents are so strict, it just has an undesired effect, because people just wonder what they're missing, and they just think they have a lot of lost time to make up for. So I think it's sort of like Dr. Barry and Nisha with their kids, like they'll say, like they let them participate in like Halloween and stuff, but then they like bribe them for their candy so that they, as an example. So I don't know. I also think that when you're a kid and you feel like I had some circumstances when I was growing up that made me feel like I was not like other kids. And I may end up sharing some of that, because that might be a part of my mission at some point, to share some of that. But feeling different like that, I so identify with kids who just feel like they don't fit in, like they're not a part of the group. And I just think if parents can, I'm not saying you cater to your kids and just bow down to every little thing they want, because like I said before, I'm getting crotchety in my old age, and I'd be telling my 15-year-old son, if you don't eat what I fix, you can fix something yourself.
I mean, that's the same for adults too, really, when you think about it. like there are adults who were in a lot of social situations a lot and it inevitably has desserts and junky food inevitably at every function, right? There
Yep.
are adults who feel left out and they're, sugar carb, regardless, whatever version of low carb you're doing. I just call us all low carb, whatever
Yep.
version you're doing. I think there are people who feel left out and all that stuff. And that's what I like to call like food freedom, being able to have, a little sliver of whatever and just move on with your life and not, binge or crave more or go back for seconds. Like we should be able to do that and just every once in a while if you choose and then move on with your life and not, have to answer to the world and what you just ate and all this stuff. That to me, it was my ultimate goal at the end because I did binge eat. I did have a mild form of addiction. I was obese. I did have all these things. I didn't have an off switch. Now I can have a sliver of cake. I'm not saying I did, but if I choose, I can do that and no longer binge, not have cravings, not go back for seconds. I can just like have a little sliver, get it out of my system and move on with my life and don't feel guilty or whatever afterwards. I'm just like, okay, cool, move on. We should be able to do that at some point because unless you are that person, because not everyone can do this, unless you are that person who can abstain from consuming things like that for the rest of your life. Very few people actually have the ability to do that. If every time you turn around, you are tempted by whatever's on the table. So you should be able to have one cookie, not feel guilty, not binge, not have cravings, not do whatever, and just move on with your life. We should be able to do that without having to answer to anyone or, what is it? Rebel for your sins or or whatever. You know what I mean? Like to me, that's the ultimate food freedom coming from someone who did have binge eating tendencies and not an off switch. Like the fact I'm able to do that now, like I'm damn proud of that.
Heck yeah.
So and I get crucified because I eat I eat a piece of chocolate or whatever, but I'm like, you don't know where I came from. Like where I came from, that piece of chocolate will turn into eating the whole damn pantry.
Yeah, and you see a lot of reframing going on right now in the community where people are talking about, instead of calling it a cheat day, call it I'm choosing to go off plan for this amount of time, and then I'm going to go right back into my normal.
It's life.
My normal eating. Yeah, and you have to realize like you have that choice. You have the ability to make that decision for yourself. I mean, I've gone out to eat recently where I've had nothing but a pot of tea with people and explained I had a huge lunch. Or a huge breakfast. I'm not interested in eating lunch, but I want your company. I want to be able to spend time with you. There have been other situations where I've let people know, I have had severe gut issues. I'm on an elimination diet. I'm trying to heal. And so there's a lot of stuff that I can't eat right now, and I have food sensitivities.
Yeah.
Nobody gives me crap for it.
No.
No, I mean, nobody like blinks an eye. I'm like, that's what I'm eating. And that's done deal. Really, it's you got to have a little bit of grit sometimes when you're in these situations and realize, you make the decisions that are right for you at the time.
Yeah. And it's a choice. It's having so for me it's not having the food because a lot of people have the food make that choice for you, right? Because food has control over a lot of people.
Yes, it does.
So it's taking that control back and you choosing whether you want to eat something or not without that temptation or you know what I mean? Like without those other thoughts going through your head. And that's what I mean by food freedom is if I'm in a situation, I'm in control and I choose not to eat something, not because I feel like I'm deprived or I can't or whatever. It's just I'm making a decision. I can eat that, but I'm deciding not to. A lot of people let the food make that decision for them and they avoid it because out of fear or wherever they are in their journey. And that's no way to live. Like you always have the choice to eat something or not eat something, and you have the choice how you feel about what you just ate. So it's just taking that control back.
And the next 3 months are so difficult. I mean, a lot of people really they're on the emotional roller coaster when it comes to that and the stress levels, the activities. It's really easy to find yourself with a plate of food that you don't really want, you don't really need, and it just seems kind of pointless. you know.
Yeah.
Last year, I was not yet carnivore, but I was very low carb. But I made a decision when I went to my daughter's house for both Thanksgiving and for Christmas that I was going to let myself eat some sweet potatoes and mashed potatoes. And I did not eat bread and I did not eat any sugary desserts. But those were my two things that I just told myself I'm going to let myself have those. And it made both meals very enjoyable. And I also had some of those two things at Easter. It just, and I am very consistent through, as a general rule, but every now and then I do just look ahead and I'm like I went to a work function 3 weeks ago and they had cheesecake there. And I ate, like, we had meat and stuff. And so like chicken and stuff. So I ate some of that. And then I'm like, I'm going to eat a little sliver of this cheesecake. And I ate a sliver of cheesecake. I didn't go back for more. They offered they all know how much I do like cheesecake.
Yeah, but
And
you had
like,
that off switch.
They were like, here, you can take this home with you. And I said, no, because I know I would eat it. If it were in my refrigerator, I would eat it. I don't have very many things that I have to be that worried about, but I will sit and eat my weight in mashed potatoes. So don't send me home with mashed potatoes because I will eat them.
French fries here. That was my binge food.
Mm-hmm.
Not the sweets so much as potatoes. Yeah.
Oh man, mashed potatoes are like my jam. And I mean, I could eat them in 500 different ways. And they were just so, like, on special occasions, like, Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever, I'll eat some, but I can't take them home with me.
Yeah.
And my daughter will say, well, here, Mama, I know you like take them home. No, can't do it.
That's the same on Christmas Eve. My dad makes the fish and pasta dinner, the Italian feast. So you best believe I want to eat some of his homemade spaghetti and meatballs. And I'm going to feel like garbage afterwards because I don't eat pasta. That would be like the first time I've eaten pasta in a year. So I know I'm going to feel like crap, but it's a tradition. It's like a family tradition. And I'm going to give myself permission to have a little bit of my dad's spaghetti and meatballs because that's what we do. We have, the four of us, we might have a little bit more family over and we just have pasta and fish. We don't do the whole 7 fish and all that one because we don't get the fish that they have over in Italy anyway, but there's only 4 of us. So he just does like 4 different fish and then the spaghetti and meatballs.
All right. Mike wants to know what our favorite Halloween movie or series is.
Ooh.
I'll tell you my favorite movie is Trick or Treat.
What's that?
It came out, oh my gosh, it's old, but it has Ozzy Osbourne plays a DJ.
Ozzy Osbourne?
No, Gene Simmons, I think, played a DJ.
Those are 2 different people.
Yeah, Ozzy was a preacher, and there was this guy who was basically a rock star that made a deal with the devil. It was that is like my favorite Halloween movie, but I like the Halloween series of movies too.
I don't know. Mike, what's yours? Let us know in the chat what your favorite Halloween movie is. I have nightmares. Freddy Krueger scarred me. Like that whole like singing, and because he only like tried to kill you in your dreams, like I was afraid to sleep when I was a kid. I was traumatized. Freddy Krueger traumatized me when I was a kid. So I refuse to see Nightmare on Elm Street, Chucky, that damn doll. I cannot watch those movies because I am scarred. But I do like Silence of the Lambs, if that's a Halloween movie. Is that a Halloween movie?
I'm not sure, but I really did like that movie too.
That was an interesting movie. I thought it came out in like the summer or the spring though. There's a really good Halloween movie. It's played on Turner Classic Movies. It's an oldie. It's in black and white, and it's about a haunted mansion people go to. And I can't remember the name of it, but it's like.
Is it called Haunted Mansion?
It might be something like obvious like that. Yeah, but it's really interesting. It's a good one. Yes.
Oh, Susan brought up a good one. Hocus Pocus, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Hocus Pocus 2 sucked.
I haven't seen it.
You didn't see it? Carrie, did you?
Nah.
Mm-mm.
Hocus
No,
Pocus
wait a minute. Hocus Pocus. Oh gosh, I
is
don't
with Bette
know.
Midler and Kathy Najimy.
I'm thinking that I probably saw it back in the day, but if you gave me $1,000, I couldn't tell
Bette
you what the
Midler,
plot
yeah.
was.
Yeah, Hocus Pocus 1 is a classic, but they just recently came out with 2 and they just ruined it. I don't know. Susan, did you like Hocus Pocus 2? I think that should have been outlawed.
Hey, Susan says my mashed potatoes have lots of butter and cream, so they're practically carnivore. That. Truthfully, I always ate mine like that too, especially with butter. Man, I would eat like a ton of butter.
I'm sure if you look hard enough, you'll find carnivore mashed potatoes. I'm sure someone figured out how to make carnivore mashed potatoes.
Chris Cooking Nashville actually did, but I will tell you, and it's truly carnivore ingredients, but the way you have to, I mean, I suppose if you got the mechanism down, but it looks like it. See, I'm lazy, y'all, in terms of cooking. I don't want to expend that much effort. So I don't anticipate ever making them, but if somebody made them for me, it wouldn't break my heart. But I have seen several other people use his recipe and rate it, and they have said that it's like they taste like mashed potatoes. And it's way better than like any cauliflower mash or anything. And it does not have cauliflower in it. It's not a cauliflower type mash. It's eggs, and I don't know. But there's a technique to the way that you have to make the eggs and just all of that and blend it and everything. But apparently, supposedly, if you do it that correct way, the texture is perfect and they taste just like mashed potatoes.
Sounds like too much work.
It does for me too. I'm not much of a. I like to watch cooking shows just to see what other people can do. Yeah. And I love Chris Cooking Nashville's channel. It's very good. And he has other stuff too, like he talks about his carnivore journey and stuff like that. But I admire people who can do that. And my daughter can do that. She can follow those recipes and make things, but I could do it. I should not say that I can't, and I need to stop saying stuff like that. I can do it. It's just I don't want to. I don't think the return on investment is worth it.
I'm with Susan here. She's like, if I want mashed potatoes, I'll cook real potatoes. That's what I'm saying. Yep. Not the box potatoes, though. You got to get like whole potatoes and make actual potatoes. But yeah, I was never a mashed potatoes person anyway. My aunt for the holidays would make this sweet potato casserole, and of course she would put the marshmallows on there. It's like diabetes in a casserole dish. But yeah, that thing, man, that's like a candy bar. If I ate that now, like sweet things that used to taste sweet to me back then, it's like next level. Like my mom gave me something this weekend and I tried a little bite of it, and it's something I would have normally liked, you know, the old me, but now I'm like, this is gross. Like just the stuff I used to like just go to town on, it just doesn't taste good anymore.
Yeah, I had a Diet Dr. Pepper when we had to go back to Oklahoma. My dad passed away last year, and so we ended up having to make a trip back home, and I had a Diet Dr. Pepper at some point in time, and it was just ungodly sweet. It was diet, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. My taste buds have changed to that degree. Yeah, and I generally don't put any seasoning at all on my food, except I just put smoked salt, and that's it. Except for my sardines, of course, I put them.
Just don't put tahini on it. I don't know what's worse.
Tahini, no. Tahini's not my fave.
No.
What is that?
I don't know, but it's nasty.
It's like chili lime kind of stuff. Yeah, my husband got the tahini flavored pork rinds, and it was like nasty. Yeah, and I like pork rinds, but no, thank you.
Yeah,
it's not good. Not good. I used to cook a lot. I used to make these like Asian Indian style curries, and it would just take hours, right? From toasting the spice and grinding things up and chopping and delicious, but it was just really complex. And that was like usually for the holidays, we would have one traditional meal, one non-traditional meal. So we would I'd make the curry for one of those two. And it was so much time. And now it's just my husband and I. Holidays are very easy. We either go to the Brazilian steakhouse, or I will make a carnivore meal for us. Or I might make something like meat with maybe a coconut base, something like keto. And it's it's way easier. I have so much more time. I do. It's just like, I can't believe I spent so much of my previous years chopping and rinsing and doing all this complicated stuff.
Right?
It's true. I mean, it's been a huge time saver. Like, get meat, put it in the pan,
Yep.
get it out, put the salt on.
Even food shopping. I'm like, eggs, butter, meat.
20 minutes
in and out.
20 minutes, I'm done. And that's just because I have to wait for my husband to get his keto stuff.
Yep.
And I'm like, I get flowers, I get meat, I get water, and there we are. Sesame seed paste. I think you're thinking of what's that called? It's not tahini. This is Tajin, tahine. Not tahini.
Chili lime seasoning. Yeah, I just looked it up. It was nasty. What's up, Jeannie? She's we're doing an interview. I think she's gonna be on Dave's channel, No Carb Life, in a week or two. Also.
Oh, fabulous!
Cool.
Yeah. I don't miss cutting veg. No, me neither. I was never a veggie fan anyway. Like, I would eat the sweet corn, like the sweet stuff, and carrots, and maybe the French cut green beans with a ton of butter on there. But I never really ate veggies. I don't like salad. Like, I just never ate that stuff anyway. So switching to meat, because I was like Susie, I would eat lean and green, like chicken breast. I didn't really eat red meat or steak or any of that stuff. But switching to meat was super easy, because they're like, don't eat your veg. I'm like, I don't eat veg anyway. I didn't eat salads. I just wasn't a fan. I just never liked it. So this was super, super easy. The sweet corn, I thought I would miss the sweet corn, but I actually don't miss anything, actually. I don't think I would ever add corn back. It just makes no sense. It doesn't do anything for you. There's no nutritional value in any of that stuff. But yeah, I would eat the sweet veg out of all the veg, but you give me Brussels sprouts or broccoli, nah, it's nasty.
Yeah, what's funny is I liked broccoli and cauliflower with the cheese sauce on it, and that got to be about the only vegetables.
Because you would put cheese on it to mask the flavor of the nastiness.
And salt, a lot of salt and the cheese sauce. But that got to be the only vegetables that or butter, like salted butter. I would put salted butter on there.
That's the same with Brussels sprouts. Everyone's like, I love Brussels sprouts. I'm like, eat the Brussels sprouts plain. Do not put anything on it and just pop it in your mouth. No one will do that. They're like, I put olive oil, I put this. Yeah, you got to mask the nasty.
I liked caramelized onions.
Ooh.
Not garlic so much, but I did like onions. And I was eating pickled onions up to a certain point, and then it just started to bother my gut. I could tell after I'd eaten them that they wasn't like really agreeing with me. So
yeah.
But and I've heard people say, oh, when you go on a carnivore diet, you suddenly become more sensitive to everything. And I wonder, what do you guys think about that? Does that agree with your experience?
I think there is some truth to that, because you like heal and you now have a sense on how your body truly responds. Because I'll eat. I had a chili cheeseburger last night at the diner. It was literally just a cheeseburger patty, and they topped some Texas chili on there. And I don't know what, I think it was obviously all the seasoning, but yeah, that tore my stomach up, and I ran to the bathroom like an hour after we got to my parents' house. So it's like, and I would never do that before, but I think, I think my gut is more sensitive to certain things, because if I don't eat something all the time, I will notice that I don't feel happy. But yeah, I was running to the bathroom an hour after we got home from all of that seasoning and the spice and all that stuff. And I would eat chili all the time. But yeah, I'm noticing that certain things, because I don't eat it all the time, it will affect my gut either that night or the next morning.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same for me. I think it's like when you eliminate everything, which is basically what carnivore does, you eliminate everything except, or if you do something like beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, which is essentially pretty close to what I ended up doing inadvertently back last year. What few vegetables I ate, I eliminated them. And it's like, you notice because you eliminated everything, like you so limited, which I didn't think it was torture or anything like that. Like eliminating it, it really was like awesome for me because it was easy. I love easy. It was just easy and there wasn't this analysis of the paralysis of decisions that you're making on what to fix or whatever. You just had this and just fix it. It's simple, and meal prep was easy. But because you limited everything so much, anything different that you do, you notice. Whereas before you were eating many different kinds of things, even if you were eating keto, you might be eating a lot of different types of things. And so if something happened, either you really didn't pick up on it or you weren't really sure what to attribute it to. But because you can isolate things a whole lot easier now, you really do notice, or at least I do. And
a lot of Brussels sprouts chatter in the chat. What?
Roasted in balsamic vinegar. See, you have to have it.
Except for Susan. Susan eats them plain. Like, she's the only person I know. See? And Bruce now. They're like the only two people I know that can eat Brussels sprouts plain. Everyone else either has to load them with salt, butter, or olive oil. Mostly olive oil.
Yeah. Had really bad.
Probably
You gotta do the fart noise, Nicole.
Oh, fart noise.
Yeah.
Wait, he's not done.
So Susan, was that like was it, did it have sauce on it?
It probably had barbecue sauce. Sauce. How dare Oh, Mike was interviewed on Dave's channel too. I just caught some of it last night while I was trying to get my car to start. But yeah, I saw he was on Dave's channel too. So definitely go check out that interview. I think it came out yesterday or the day before.
Yeah, I listened to that.
Yeah.
It's very good. Very good. Yeah.
Okay, Michelle has a question. She had pickles and they didn't give her acid reflux, but as soon as she had a cucumber, that was the end of it. And I have a theory about that because the cucumber is raw and it's not pickled, and raw vegetables. Like, I can eat a pickle and it doesn't bother me. But boy, you give me raw cucumbers and that will just tear up my stomach.
Yeah, it's like the pickling and fermented process that is good for the gut bacteria and all that stuff. But yeah, that might be why, because isn't pickle just a cucumber just prepared a certain way? So it might just be the whole form, maybe, because there's really zero nutritional value in cucumber, celery, and any of that stuff anyway. It's mostly just water, so you're really not getting much from it. So unless it's like sprayed with something, like if you're eating the skin too, a lot of it's sprayed with pesticide and all sorts of stuff. So if you're eating the skin, you're ingesting that stuff too. So if you are going to eat cucumber, I definitely recommend peeling all of your veg if you are going to eat veg, because it is likely sprayed. You're going to be hard pressed to find something that's not sprayed or treated in a certain way. So try peeling it next time if you want to have cucumber. Maybe that is it if you ate it with the skin.
Yeah, and if you eat it raw, you might want to deseed it as well. I noticed that back when I was eating plants, the raw cucumber with the seeds would bother me a lot more. Deseeded, it was easier to digest, but with pickles, I have no issues.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, for fermentation there.
Yep.
Well, you guys, we've been going at it for 2 hours and 9 minutes.
I got a song for that. I didn't play a lot of songs.
Oh, we got to hear some songs.
I'm limited on my Halloween stuff, but let me just push all the buttons.
Yeah, do it.
There we go.
I should have played that sound with the scary movie stuff. Okay, I'm happy now.
Yeah. Oh, if I had one of those, I mean, that's what my whole stream would be.
It is so addicting, except for when my hand accidentally hits it like it did when Renee was talking.
Just make sure you put a little sticker above the fart sound, so you know, make sure it just.
I have them all labeled. You know, Ellie. So I'm gonna be on with the Lioness crew, and I'm gonna have some funny things. But yeah, she was dying. She had to hide her face in her shirt when I flushed the toilet. Like she wasn't prepared for the sounds.
That's great.
That was funny. That was funny. Susie handled it like a champ, though. I think she knew it was coming.
I've had the live streaming experience with you, Nicole, before. I've just not been on the screen. So
Is it different being on the screen?
It is. It's fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
It's always fun. But yeah.
Yeah.
I've been totally distracted with what my spider's been doing here. He's been dancing. So
He's been smacking you in the face.
Yeah,
He's been very active.
Well, Jeannie has a question.
Oh.
I think this is our second question of the day. Wow. Ooh.
Okay.
Potty talk.
Yes. Oh, wow.
Oh.
Friend has been having loose bowel movements every day for months. She loves veggies and is having a colonoscopy. Could her diet cause it? I think so.
What's her diet like, or what's your friend's diet like? Is it
She loves veggies, so it sounds like she eats a lot of them.
Yeah, vegetarian or I don't know, but yeah, too much fat can cause that. So if you're running to the bathroom, you got the runs, that can cause that. But a lot of veg, yeah. And with the colon, the thing that's not talked about a lot is I actually diagnosed as a non-medical professional one of my clients with SIBO, and she mentioned it to her doctor. I was like, ask your doctor if he thinks it could be SIBO, and she was diagnosed with it. So I think that's a diagnosis that isn't diagnosed a lot, and a lot of people are probably walking around with it, which is bacteria overgrowth. It's where it goes from your colon, so your large intestines, and overgrows into your small intestines. That's not good. But a lot of fiber, that's what does that, because your gut bacteria feeds on fiber predominantly, unless you are zero carb. If you are feeding your body fiber, which includes vegetables, and that's what your gut's going to feed off of. So if you are feeding your gut excess fiber, plants, fruits, nuts, seeds, grains, all that stuff, then it is going to cause a lot of gut issues, which can be loose stools, bowel movements, constipation, bulky stool, and all sorts of things. And over time, it will cause a lot of issues with your colon, that can ultimately lead to, getting your colon removed and all sorts of not so good stuff. But that's what your gut's feeding off of, unless you are a zero carb diet. So maybe suggest her decreasing her veg. That might help, but that's likely what's causing it. That's my long-winded answer.
That's a very good answer. And also, I know I've heard Dr. Berry talk about when people eat fiber, and it's like they say that you need roughage to clean it out. And it's like, imagine using sandpaper on your, colon and your intestines and stuff. It's just
Yeah.
kind of it when you really think about what fiber is and the fact that it's not something that we digest and all it does is add bulk. But it's one of those things that we're just always told that, vegetables are good for you because, especially certain ones, because there's a lot of fiber to them. And in reality, they cause, and I had actually started noticing like several years ago that my stomach would just really bother me when I would eat, especially a salad. Oh my gosh. Salads would just, and it just got progressively worse to where I just didn't eat salads anymore. And this was before I really became strict to much of anything.
I call it just like, that's what people consider full. It's just like taking up space in your gut.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I call it like the holding space until your body's able to get rid of it, either as gas or stool. So it's literally just hanging out until it's like waiting in line for your body to excrete it, because your body has to get rid of it. And too much fiber can be toxic in the way that it causes all these issues. Similar to glucose, excess glucose causes issues. It can be toxic. So yeah, I call your gut just a holding place for the fiber until your body is able to get rid of it.
Yeah, when I was having my worst IBS symptoms, it felt like I had eaten pine cones. Literally.
Ooh.
It was terrible. Yeah, the pain associated with that.
Oh my God.
That was our friend plants.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh golly, that sounds like incredibly painful.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's probably about time for us to wind her down.
Wind her down.
Yeah. Susan said her gastro doctor said to eat more fiber and made her ulcer UC worse.
Yeah.
Went back to what her UK doctor said, which was low fiber. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It just makes more sense once you think about it. It's just so often we're just told these things and we just take it for granted that they're true until you just really stop and think about it. And you're like, well, how much sense does this really make?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the arguments now, they're not aligned to human anatomy. They're not aligned to human evolution.
Mm-mm.
They're not aligned to the archaeological evidence of what we ate and how we behaved, pre-agriculture. A lot of things make sense when you just stop to think about them. But that's not what the dominant paradigm is, influencing people to think. So it's difficult to get yourself out of that mindset if you've been in there for a long time.
Yeah.
And it was difficult for me to move away from thinking plants as, healthful, nutritious, ideal things for us to eat versus meat being, this toxic, heavy, things that clog you up and all that nonsense.
What's funny is meat is actually digested. The vast majority of it is digested in your stomach, doesn't even make it to your colon.
Isn't
that something? And then they turn around and say that it causes colon cancer. It's like, how? There's nothing left. I mean, there's nothing in it.
Makes
and
no
ask
sense
anybody who's got an ostomy bag
exactly
what they find in there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like backworld up. What is it? Upside down world.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's wild. Here we go. Poop.
Poop.
Mike's
That's a
parent
cue.
said that it's not healthy for him to poop once a week or slightly less frequently because he can develop some bacteria in his gut, and that he should change his diet to a healthy one. Yeah, you just don't have any waste.
Yeah, but it's healthy to have vast amounts of indigestible stuff in your gut that just sits there and it ferments and makes you feel terrible and
Well, I mean, people that's a thing Like when I was vegan for 4 years, I was pooping nonstop. And like that's a big thing. Like if you actually think about what poop is, it's waste. It's your body getting rid of waste, meaning it's not doing anything with what you're putting into it. It's excreting it out. And it's the same with it's fat. If you eat too much fat, you're going to excrete it out. Your body only needs and requires so much. But that's what poop is. And if you are pooping multiple times a day, there's something wrong with your diet because that's a lot of waste your body's not getting rid of, meaning your body's not doing very much with what you're feeding it. So if you just change your diet and you poop maybe once a day, once every other day, whatever, that should be normal because that means your body's not excreting the food you're giving it as waste. It's actually using the nutrition you're feeding it and not working hard to excrete it out. But that's really what poop is. It's literally just waste.
Yep.
So I don't know why it's been normalized and why people think it's normal and healthy to poop multiple times a day, not even once a day, multiple times a day is what's recommended, multiple times a day.
Yeah, and that's true when you really do stop and think. And it's I mean, when you use the term like poop or crap or ish in slang, it means waste or
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And so that is what it is in your body. And so if you have that much waste, it's like, how much would you have to eat of whatever you're eating to get any useful amount in there?
Yeah.
Because if you're excreting that much, yeah, that's not good.
And it's like people are getting up on cows. I'm like, I'm pretty damn sure humans fart more than cows. We put off more methane than cows. I'm just saying.
Oh,
like,
especially
these
now.
People are stinky.
Especially now. You're right about that. Yep. Yep. The less you poop, the more your body absorbs in terms of nutrients. Yep. That is it. That is it.
Yeah, I go like maybe once a day, maybe once every other day. But yeah, I mean, if I don't go one day, I'm not, oh my God, I have to go to the doctor, I have to go to the GI. It's like sometimes I go every other day and it's fine, it's healthy. And I don't strain. I don't have to play a video game or read a novel. I'm in and out.
Yep. One-stop shopping right there.
That's it.
You don't have to have a library in there.
Renee says you all finally made it to poop and you're not here, Renee.
Oh, made it to poop. Yep.
And then Mike says his last poop was last Sunday. And I don't eat little. It's just that my body is an efficient engine with little waste. Wow, that's a long time.
That's quite a long time. I might be a little bit worried about that, but I don't know. I mean, I've heard it said that there are some folks that, I mean, once they've been carnivore for a while, especially, and if they're truly eating like absolutely nothing but meat, that they can go like once a week.
Yeah, that's closer to what my routine's like. Not to get into too TMI, but yeah, I don't worry about it. I'm not uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I go like generally speaking, like every other day or maybe every third day.
Yeah, same with me. Yeah.
Back in my plant eating days, if I missed a day, it was very uncomfortable.
Yeah. And I'd be gassy.
Oh.
Body.
Yep.
Talk about sound effects. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. One of the many benefits of the carnivore diet, fewer sound effects. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna hop off in a few minutes because we're gonna get some dinner. I don't know what we're gonna eat, but we're gonna eat some food.
All right. I appreciate everybody joining us. And I mean, of course, we have Nicole at Former Fat Girl. Susie, do you have a YouTube channel or anything? Instagram, Twitter, anything that people can follow you?
I am very OG. I'm on Facebook, and you can find me very easily there. So my profile does not look like this. I have a horse as my so I'm Susie. I'm Susanna with the horse.
With the horse.
With
Okay.
the horse.
Gotcha.
But yeah, if you want to get in touch with me,
Fabulous.
I'm always floating around in the live streams too when I have a.
She's a floater,
Yes, he's a
bringing it back to poop.
Oh, and let's end on that.
yes, back to poop. Oh Lord, there's a big cow fart discussion going on.
Oh, we're missing. Oh no. Organic cows don't fart as much, and they don't smell as bad.
Yes. And then once every 2 weeks. Interesting. Yeah.
Each their own.
Yeah.
I'm
All right.
everything
Well,
please.
everybody, thank you again so much for being here with us for this Halloween special edition. We'll be seeing you guys again.